Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E-Streaming. It is round number 10, race number 10 of the 5th season of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you, of course, by my private sellers. We are here at the Super Speedway of Talladega. Yes, it is one of the most famous tracks in all of oval racing. And who will be celebrating with a Talladega night tonight. Joining me here in the booth, Mr. Carl Wilkins, with you, of course, here, and Mr. Matthew Hunter. How you going, Matt?
Good. Yep, looking forward to this one tonight. It's a true super speedway. Although they're racing for these cars is always like a super speedway, but this is a true super speedway.
It is indeed 4 and a bit kilometers of absolute insanity here at Dega, and we're going to be seeing some very fast cars tonight indeed. It's qualifying at the moment, just on the screen, but quickly I'll just run through the championship standing order as we come in to this race. Of course, after tonight there'll be just a single round to go at the Carolina Classic at Charlotte Motor Speedway, rounding us out for season 5, the first round of season 5. So it's Ren Diego in the lead of the championship at the moment, a whole 1 point ahead of Gary Wellman in P2. Dwayne Priest sits in third position, 20 points off the lead. Kim Roffey in fourth, 27 points down. Ruben Phelps in fifth, 35 points down. 36 points off the lead is Jamie Curvis, with Andy Barber 43 down. Troy Davidson 46 points down, with Adam Malone in joint 8th and 9th place, and Craig Roffey rounding out the 10 at the moment, 50 points off the lead. So championship is very, very close at the moment as we head into, with this one, we've got 2 rounds left. Of course, qualifying on a super speedway, you just put your foot down, try and get as close to the line as possible, make the track as short as possible, try to keep those average speeds up. And currently, sort of top speeds, we're looking at around about 298.4 kilometers per hour. Out on their own, of course, these cars create a lot of drag. It slows them down a little bit. Once we get into pack racing, we're going to see them getting up close to, almost probably 298, almost 300 kilometers per hour, Matt.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they crack over the 300. I'd like to see them go 305, 310, but I guess it'll depend on their gear ratios as well.
Yeah, and that can really throw a little bit of a difference maker in as well, because you don't want to be redlining the whole way around. You've got to keep the car in the right place, get it in the sweet spot. Currently, it's Adam Malone sitting up at the top of the tower. He's currently got pole position over Tristan Koch in P2. Nice run there from Tristan. Both of them setting some really good speeds out there. 298.4 for Malone, 298.1 for Koch. So absolute gunning it for speed on their own. So nice jobs at the moment. And you can see there with the timing, it is absolutely nothing between these cars.
Some drivers, they seem to have a bit of a knack in knowing the lines and to run to get the maximum amount of speed and not turn the wheel too much and scrub the front tyres, which could then sort of reduce the drag and slow you down. Some drivers have got it, some don't.
Now that's it, Matt. And sometimes people don't want to be starting right up the front, and you might see somebody just lifting off a little bit, just to drop off the pace a tiny bit, to sort of leave them a little bit further down the starting pack. A few people won't qualify, of course, as well, and they'll be just looking to keep themselves out of trouble in the early stages. Of course, what we always say about super speedways is watch out for the big one, because it is only a couple of moments away on a super speedway. All it takes is that momentary lapse, and you can find yourself having a huge crash, and of course you take a fair few other cars with you.
Yeah, I think with these cars on this track, we should expect to see 3 wide racing, 3 lanes consistently. And of course, that only takes one driver to get it wrong, and we could see some really massive big ones here.
Yeah, fingers crossed we do not see any big accidents out there tonight, but the cars are starting to line up on the track for their starting positions, and it is Adam Malone taking pole for Skypoint. He is just ahead of Tristan Koch for everything simulated. On row number 2, we have Maxfield and Spencer. On the 3rd row, Philip Howard with Warwick Sharp. Row number 4 sees Justin Witcher next to Gary Wellman. 5th row, we've got Andy Barber and Raymond Yeager. 6th row sees Jai Schultz next to Darren McKenzie. 7th row has Richard Tramco next to Kim Roffey. On row number 8, we've got Aaron Dillon lining up next to Craig Roffey. Row number 9, Noddy Tompkins with Jamie Curvis. 10th row sees Patton next to Priest. 11th row, we've got Walsh and Anastakis. 12th row sees Peter Madsen next to Peter Morris. The two Peters lining up next to each other. Michael Latter and Sky Sinclair are on the 13th row. Steve Hoppett is on the 15th row next to Evan Horshaw. On the 15th row and rounding us out, did not qualify. So we've got Ruben Phelps, Aidan Schultz, Matty Ray, Kobe Jordan, Christopher Tomlin, Luke Crum, Cade Donnelly, Andrew Hoffman, Philip Marsh, Mick Rush, Peter Gretton, and Joseph Grenshaw. 40 cars out there tonight. That is going to make for some fun stuff as well. We love seeing lots and lots of cars lining up on a super speedway, and we are pretty much at capacity here for the My Private Sellers Australasian Supercar eSeries. It is race number 10 of the season, and we are coming up to the close of season 1, as we said. And look, it's been a great run so far, Matt, hasn't it?
It has been some really, really exciting action. Yeah, huge field, 40 cars. I think that's a full field for this one. So good to see a really good turnout for the second to last race of the season.
That's it. And as you said, pretty much every race becomes a super speedway with these V8 supercars on an oval. But here at Dega, of course, it is a true super speedway, and it really, you can see it just how wide the track is, how long it is. It's a very big old track at Talladega. It's an imposing track as well. Just a quick shout out, of course, and love to the series sponsors. A big thank you to them stepping on, keeping everything running. Of course, My Private Sellers, the title sponsor of the series: United Electrical Solutions, RKJ Web Services, Hot Toddy Heating Installations, and Witcher Electrics. Big thank you to them all for the help they offer for the Australian Supercar eSeries here on Performance eStreaming. Now, pack racing is going to be key here, Matt, and everybody's going to be wanting to bump draft and keep nose to tail, and it's a skill that is very tricky to master sometimes. You've got to be really, really careful of not giving the person in front of you a bit too much bump, and also not dropping off the back of the bumper too much.
Yeah, I think with these cars as well, I think we've seen that if you do hang back a little bit, you can use it to your advantage to get a really big run, slipstream, and get that slingshot. But of course, if there's cars in the lanes beside you, you've got nowhere to go. So you've just got to tuck in and be patient, and save up those runs for later on.
Absolutely, and you can tell when somebody's overdone it on a run in these things, because those big red lights will appear at the back of it. Of course, something that is different on the ovals, you have, of course, brake lights, which really makes it interesting to watch some of these cars, because you can see where people are just dragging the brake a little bit, just using the brake to turn it in, and also those people that just need to slow the car down in a, oh, I've got a bit too much draft here moment. And of course, you'll also see them coming in pit lane, slapping those limiters on. Becomes a bit of a rave when they get through pit lane, of course. Makes for some fun stuff, but it's always interesting to see who uses their limiter to its advantage. Pace car is about to come in, and we're about to go green flag racing here. Talladega, round number 10 of season 5 for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. It's going to be Adam Malone leading us off with Tristan Koch both on the front row. It's a long old way to the start-finish line here at Talladega. But once we go green, I'm going to shut up. Let's listen to these beasts roar away here tonight and enjoy some of this action. As the cars roar across the line for the first time tonight, it is Jai Schultz who manages to position the car up into the lead of the race. He gets to the front of the pack, and we can see 3 wide here at Talladega. Each car trying to get that little bit of advantage. You can see Randy Yeager there back with Gary Wellman trying to push their way forwards at the moment. Of course, those two want to try and get a lap lead, try and get that bonus point for a lap lead tonight, just to help for the championship standings. And Brendan Yeager, they're being very helpful to his rival.
Yeah, so I think he's trying to push him clear and try and get out there and get that bonus point for leading a lap tonight as well. Yeah, two main rivals for the championship. Not many points between the two of them. Of course, talking about the green 45 and the purple 23 there at the top, in the top lane.
Absolutely, and with Gary Wellman leading this lap, it means they're on equal championship points at the moment. So that is how close it is, just a single point between the 45 and the 23, Gary Wellman of the Sim Boys and Remy Yeager of Pinnacle Racing, of course. Pinnacle Esports. So they are really, really close, and they're starting to link up with their teammates as well. You've got Wellman and Maxfield on the low line. Up on the high line is a big run from who was that in the green car there?
Peter Morris?
Peter Morris, yeah, that was the run of the century. That thing came back from about 15 car lengths back.
That's
all of a sudden,
a massive slipstream. Wow, yeah, so that's that thing I thought might happen, where if they hang back a little bit, it allows them to get a really big slipstream, and that is a really big slingshot there. It just went past them like they were all standing still.
From 16th to the lead of the race in a matter of a millisecond there for Peter Morris. That was an incredible slipstream. But what that does is it stops Yeager getting that bonus point that he sorely would like at the moment. Now we've got one of the SRM cars, and I hasten to say that is Noddy Tompkins up there. He's coming up now to take a lead of the race as well. We've seen Noddy have some really good runs. He's very good on the super speedways. But he gets a huge run out the front, and that's going to cut the air off his car. He's going to start losing speed a little bit now, way up there in speed. But when that happens, you sort of lose that little bit of that draft, and then all of a sudden it's like hitting a brick wall. As Raymond Yeager is now going to get that lap led. He's going to get that bonus point, so he's going to be at least able to bring aside the lead of the map. It wouldn't surprise me to see him dropping down and maybe slipping back in the pack a little bit now, now that he's got that one secured. But you've got to be careful of jumping out too far in front, because all of a sudden that big wall there will hit you and you really, really slow down. These cars getting up to the magic 300 mark as well in that big draft and that big slipstream.
Yeah, I think Raymond was pretty aggressive there. He definitely wanted to get that lap led. So seen him sort of abandon his teammate there, which was a little bit odd. But yeah, he was desperate to get that lap led. I'm really happy to see that that KISS car, that 222 car up there. Of Warwick Sharp on the outside there, because I've been waiting for him to, you know, say that he's put on a stunner of a move because of his team name, Stone Cold Racing. So I'm waiting for him to put a stunner of a move on.
That was a stunning joke there. Just absolutely brilliant. I mean, you know.
Stone Cold Racing with the Stone Cold Stunner.
The glass shatters when we make a joke like that, I swear. But great stuff up the front, and you can see that Pinnacle just boxing in Tompkins a little bit. It's running that low line, but just on the outside we've got Greg Spencer as well in the 29 by Private Sellers liveried car next to the RKJ liveried car, and then just behind them we've got the Sim Boys, of course, running with the Hot Toddies and United Electrical Solutions, and they're all showing off the sponsors well up the front, and some good racing so far. Everybody's keeping clean, everybody's keeping in touch. A couple of cars right at the back that are just a little bit falling off. But people, I think, trying to position themselves into a fairly solid working group and trying to find the people they want to work with for this race. And sometimes sitting a little bit off the main pack can save you if there is a big nasty accident.
Yeah, I think we saw quite a number of drivers not set a qualifying lap, which sort of indicates their tactic was they were just going to sit back and wait for the big ones to take out the front runners up the field and hopefully avoid the damage themselves and get through. But I've been quite surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised at how stable the cars are three wide. Like, yeah, there's no real issue at all. Talladega being a really wide track. I mean, you can go four wide quite comfortably too, I think, with these cars.
Easily get the car in a decent little working spot, but as you say, you've got to be careful here because it can get quite. The V8 can get a little bit aero affected sometimes, and it gets very, very wobbly very, very quickly. And luckily, it's sort of keeping position at the moment. It's not, nobody's really having trouble out there. They're sort of keeping it in solid
it's going
spot
to go
as
4 wide.
oops, Pinnacle Boy's just dropping down there, but we are 4 wide for a split second. And this, Darren Dillon gets very loose there. That was a big, big moment at the front. That's broken everybody up a tiny little bit, as they've just had to just check the brake pedal a little bit for the first time tonight. Just ease off and take a bit of a breath, get themselves resettled into this group.
Yeah, we saw Warwick Sharp there on the outside line. He was aware, and he was able to give enough room, and avoided what could have possibly been a huge crash at the very front of the field with everybody piling into it. But we saw the Pinnacle guys. They obviously decided that Raymond had got his lap led and decided they were going to bail out and sit down. Probably more mid-pack, I think. We're seeing them, about 19th spot now. So I think they've just opted to just sort of sit back. It was probably getting a little bit too aggressive and racy out the front there. Although they are flying back up the pack now.
Yeah, it does not take long in these cars. All of a sudden you think, I'm just going to drop back a little bit, fall to the back of the pack. I should have a lot of breathing room. And then all of a sudden you find yourself right back up at the front again because you just get sucked up there instantly. These things are incredibly quick when you get that big, big draft of air behind you. And just keeping our eyes on the front as well. And a few people sort of trying to link up with teammates as well. And that's always the major thing, is a little bit further back. Just a bit tight there for one of the inside line production cars. That was Christopher Tomlin, I think, just getting a little bit of a moment just up there. He's trying to link up with Kobe Jordan in front of him. It's just got a couple of cars between him at the moment, but it got very, very tight there. Trying to take it 4 wide, had to take a bit of a breath there, but it was all worked out, so that is good news for them. But it can happen in a split second. In a blink of an eye, you can find yourself in a serious heap of trouble, as Sky Sinclair in the 747 now jumps to the front of the field.
I don't know if you've seen them happening in the background, but there's been cars that have just, they've timed it to perfection and they've pulled out and with no one in front of them, and they've just flown past car after car after car. The runs they're getting are huge.
Yeah, these runs are something else, aren't they? Like, I mean, coming from sort of a NASCAR perspective, you dream of a run like that, don't you? That's a run that you wish you could have.
This is the run that you think, back in the day, the Ricky Bobbies, the slingshot and gauge sort of run sort of thing, where you see in NASCAR you get the runs now, but you don't get them as quite as big and dramatic as what these ones are. And honestly, when I see one, I'm fascinated by it because they're just passing car after car.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it tricky calling the race because all of a sudden you're sort of looking, you've got the leader in your eye. It's looking, oh yeah, there's the leader. And then all of a sudden the car from right at the back of the pack appears and go, where did that come from? It really makes for a big chop and a big chase every couple of laps.
Oh, don't hit that apron. We just saw all the 080s getting on that apron a little bit. It's going to get him a little bit wobbly, loose.
Yeah, you've got to be so careful when you hit the apron, of course, because especially on the banked turns, if you catch too much of that apron and just start to lift the car up a little bit, gets it unsettled, it can really cause the car just to lift up a little bit, and all of a sudden you've got a car that's having a nasty night indeed. We've got one really long pack at the moment, 35 cars strong, or I should say 36 cars strong. We've got a lap car in there as well. Joseph Crenshaw a couple of laps down, and then we've got Peter Gretton and Mick Rush, the 2 cars at the moment just running out on their own. So they've sort of lost the draft and they're falling back a little bit at the moment. And if they work together, they might be able to get it back. There's a little bit of contact on the wall there for, can't quite see who that was in the background. It was Joseph Granshaw there, just made contact with the wall, and that will have made a few people take a deep breath as well.
I was just watching the 131 of Steve Hoppert up there, and he got a little bit aero loose there. I think he got a little bit wobbly, and it was sort of like, oh, that's what I was aiming for, because I was like, uh-oh. But no, he's held on to it, done a really good job. So good to see Steve Hoppert running up there.
No, absolutely.
The 131.
Nice to see Mr. Hoppett up at the front of the field. And of course, thanks to Steve Hoppett for helping out. And when we need him occasionally into the commentary booth, things like that. As a bit of a chop down there by, let's see, that was in front of the car, but they are really racing hard at the moment. And the 080 Kobe Jordan is just getting a few snaps to the side, holding it well at the moment, but that car is not looking as settled as some of the others around him.
Yeah, I'd be very nervous if I was around there. He's clipping the apron too much for my liking. He's getting away with it at the moment, and he might get away with it all the time, but generally when you clip that apron, it can sometimes lead to the car just getting very unstable and cause it to spin and cause a wreck in front of the field. So I'd be, just probably don't want to clip that apron, but I'll be a bit nervous if I was seeing that.
That's it. Cause the old nerves to come in as up at the front, having a bit of a run at the moment. Steve Hobbit trying to get into the lead of the race, again ahead of Sky Sinclair. You do it this time round, it's separated by absolutely nothing. 100th of a second by 400ths of a second between Hoppett and Sinclair, but Steve Hoppett takes the lead, gets a lap led, so he'll get the bonus point for that one, and I'm sure he'll be nice and happy with that.
He will be, yeah. It's really good to see him up the front there. He might be getting a big push here now from Sharp to go out to the front of that lead line. He's going to drop down.
He does, and that's going to leave Warwick Sharp in a world of trouble as he's got no car in front of him, and we'll start to hit a little bit, although Sky Sinclair jumps up now, and Warwick Sharp will get right underneath the back of them. 302 kilometres per hour there, so really getting up to some speeds, but as soon as you jump out there is the 212, comes from nowhere. Absolute bullet of a move by Christopher Tomlin. That is the draft we were talking about. He shoots out into the lead. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to jump out to this much of a lead because it's going to hurt when they come back at you. As it's going to be like a parachute. As Christopher Tomlin now drops to about 295 kilometres per hour. The cars behind him doing 300 odd kilometres per hour. And they're going to have to dart out the way of that car as it gets back up to speed in the draft pack.
Yeah, it was a really good move. That's one you want to put on the memory bank because that's, testing that for late in the race. If you can time it, that's the kind of run that you want to time it and going for the victory lane, going for the finishing line, sorry.
Absolutely, we need to turn that to perfection. There's a free one up the front, we've got two cars up there with just using the side draft at the moment. And they are really trying to get that lap led at as it stands. Everybody wants to be in the front of this race. When you're sitting up the front, though, it does chew up the fuel a little bit more. Something we've not talked about too much so far in this race, and that is fuel, of course. When you're leading the pack, you're going to be using a lot more fuel than if you're sitting 5 or 6 cars behind. So we're expecting them to make about 26 laps on the fuel for the leaders, and about 29 laps for those cars sitting deeper in the pack.
As we see Priest get a massive run, he's going to go around the outside, and can he get clear and drop down?
He does indeed. Usually, a little bit of background information here on how we look at our timing screens. Usually, when you're seeing a car fighting for the front, you look to the front runners and click on their name. However, people are coming from so far back, I'm having to look halfway down my list of driver names to find them, to actually click on the card so I can actually see them. Because all of a sudden, one lap they'll be sitting down in 15th position, and the next lap they're up in the lead of the race. As Andrew Hoffman now is the car coming up to the front of the pack. Hoffman started 36th in this race and is now in the lead, up in the front of the pack. 35 positions gained so far. And, well, within a blink of an eye, that can go back to sort of 35th position if you're not too careful. But those guys down in 35th can easily come back up here as there's a car on the outside getting 27. A huge run.
Yeah, look at that. Joe Schultz getting the massive run in the 27 on the outside. That's the way to do it.
Joe Schultz at the start of this lap was in P17. At the end of it is now leading by a country mile. That won't last too long, of course, because again, it's going to start losing the draft a little bit. Let's just have a quick blink of his lights there.
For Priest, time the pull out and slingshot past. Let's see who's going to go with him.
A bit of contact between I think that was Tomlin and Hoppet there. Just a little bit too much of a bump there. Just got the 131 a little bit loose there, as it was actually Coach John just a little bit of a tap from behind. And that's the trouble when you're doing a big draft run like that, when you're doing the bumps like that, trying to bump draft, you've got to be careful not to come from too far back, because you can end up just damaging your car.
I think we're seeing a little bit of a protection of that outside line now too, because that's where all the big runs have come from. So I think Hoffman's decided he's just going to hang out on that top line. He's got 064, is it behind him?
And Joseph Grenshaw there, a couple of laps down, laps down for Grenshaw. Collected the wall a couple of times now, I've noticed, and has got a fair bit of damage over the right front tyre. Now, that's not going to affect you too much on a super speedway when you're running in a pack, but as soon as you get out front, that damage on the car, any damage will act like a parachute on these things. It will slow it down by a huge amount. So he's got to keep tucked in behind somebody. Maxi Marshall up there as... Philip Marshall, sorry. Too many cars, I'm calling. Philip Marshall in the 444 Scorpion entry up there now as well. And they've come from pretty much the back of the pack and working their way right up to the front now as well. So, as you said, people protecting that outside lane just to stop those big runs at the moment, which is probably good. Just keeping everybody a little bit more contained. We've got three lines running at the moment, 3 parts of the track being used, all 3 wide, which is great to see. The top 16 covered by less than a second, and less than about 4 seconds covering pretty much the top 32 cars at the moment. It is very much nose to tail, very close up here at the front of the field. We've got 59 laps remaining here at Talladega for round number 10 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Sellers.
We've been so focused up the front, we haven't really checked back down the field. I think some of these guys are having a little bit of fun with this. They drop right back to the back, and then they see if they can power their way all the way up to the front, and then they drop back down again. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're sort of seeing what they can do. We've got Peter Grattan and Nick Rush there. Those two have fallen off the pace. Who was actually dropping down?
Tomlin's coming into the pits, is he?
That's
just
dropped
down.
No?
No, Tomlin, he decided that he wanted no more about that front, so he's dropped right back, but he might not have done it very well, because if he loses that draft...
Have to see how this goes for Tomlin, because he's fallen right at the back of the pack. He might just be out of draft distance here. He's fallen back by a good second or two, and that has knocked him out of the draft running. He might be able to just pick it up again.
Yeah, I think he might be just getting onto it now.
Yeah, he's got it now.
Yeah.
You can see how fast this car is going, up to 307 kilometers per hour there for the 212 of Tomlin. With that bigger gap, it just absolutely rockets the car, and I think if he keeps his foot in it, we'll see this thing just slingshot its way back to the front of the pack. When you're travelling about 10 kilometers per hour faster than the rest of the cars, they almost look like they're standing still. And these two just need to really work together, which I think they're doing, just doubling up at the moment. A bit further down at the field, Justin Witcher there, currently down in
18th spot, yeah.
18th spot, yeah. So you can see a lot of single file action here happening, and those cars will be sitting pretty there in the single file section, because it just keeps saving and saving fuel, because we're getting up to that point where some of these guys that have been leading, some of these guys that have been really having some fun at the front will start to pay their dues. Peter Madison up there again, and Peter Madison's going to try and get that lap led, but it's been Sky Sinclair pretty much leading every lap in the 747 at the moment. Very distinctive holding them, nice and easy to spot, as we are 3 wide here at Vega.
Yeah, so there's a good bit of a battle at the front of those 10, 12 cars, 3 wide, just battling hard at the front, but a lot of the drivers have just elected to sit on the low line single file and be a bit patient. We'll jump back and have a look at Peter Gretton's paint for Sarah. She's mentioned that he's got a new paint, so we'll just have a look at for her. If we can find the right button. There we are. Oh, the Jim Beam.
A fantastic option of paint jobs, of course. Jim Beam black as well, I believe. So
very nice.
Expensive stuff. The stuff that we can't afford to drink, at least.
No.
Meanwhile, up the front, Madison and Sinclair still trying to see who can get those laps led. And this time, Peter Madison gets the lap led. So he gets that tick next to their name. So always nice when that happens. But it won't be long until some of these cars will need to start looking at coming into pit lane. And that's when you really need to try and get into that low line. And at the moment, there's not really a gap on the low side. It is just cars all the way to the eye can see. And there isn't much of a Ford or a Holden shaped gap for anybody to slide in there. And it won't be long until they'll start to need to think about coming down pit lane as Andrew Hoffman now jumps up to the front pack. And he's going to try and get that leg next to the name of the 51 tonight.
So I think there is definitely some silly buggers going on out there. Joe Schultz and Christopher Tomlin are both dropping back to about 30th spot, 35th spot I think they were, and then they're just using the draft to power their way back up, because we saw Tomlin drop back before to 35th. He's now just drafted his way, slingshotted his way right back up to 12th spot.
I think you're right on Matty Ray and Matty Ray, Ruben Phelps now. They are powering their way through as a duo, a double act here, and they've come from way down in the 25th positions, and they are powering their ways forward now. And look at the draft run these two are getting, working together as well. The 06 and the 83 just getting broken up here by Cody Jordan, but it's pit lane for people as well, so pit stops are happening. So we've got Peter Matson in pit lane with Philip Marsh, so first two to blink on lap 28.
So this is, I think, why we've seen these cars power up to the front, because they've decided that they want to be up near the front for this pit stop cycle that starts in case anything goes wrong.
Yeah, of course, pit stops kind of offering precautions. There's good cars coming out on. Sometimes they might change to some fresh boots, but you come out, you might be on your own, you might be trying to work to a different draft pack. Lots of things can happen in the pit cycles, and of course, if you can get slightly higher up the field and come into pit lane in front of all the cars, as all around goes Andrew Hoffman, and the caution flag will be out here down into unfortunately, Steve Hoppett there had nowhere to go. The unfortunate car to get caught in that one, as looks like Hoffman may have just had a little bit of help getting turned around there, and down into the 131 it goes. And unfortunately, that will be night over for competitive natures. As good job by everybody just to avoid the cars as they were having a big accident there. But we see here the incident as it will happen. That bit of contact on the back of the red car from the white car. So there it is, that little bit of contact.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. A few technical difficulties tonight. I think we'll see the red car get a little bit taily, get a little bit loose in the corner here. And it sort of fishtail him down. Yeah, and then the car behind just gave it a little bit of a tap, and that was it. And poor Steve Hoppett, nowhere to go, wrong place, wrong time. Very unlucky.
Yep. And unfortunately, Steve Hoppett, the man that luck forgot sometimes, I swear, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time for that one. Nothing you can do in a situation like that, because you're just a passenger, and locks on the brakes, tries to circulate the car a little bit, and everybody just avoiding him by the narrowest of margins. He just had to let off the brakes a little bit there to start turning the car so it didn't completely wash up on the track, and that stopped it from being a bigger accident. But we've got cars in pit lane now. Everybody, I imagine, will be coming down pit road, and it has broken up the field a fair bit as well with this this caution. So with cars just trying to shuffle their positions, quite a few cars are a little bit further down than they want to be. But the rave is starting to happen here, and crack out a bottle of red Chardonnay and enjoy the rave as it goes on. Be a classy raver tonight.
Yeah. drop your icky and into it you go.
Absolutely. The classiest of raves drinks red wine, of course, and if you like drinking red wine, right, sellers, of course. But Sky Sinclair, first car down pit lane and takes on a big load of gas. I think everybody's going to be taking on pretty much maximum fuel to try and get them to the next stint at least. Looking at stop times, pretty much everybody universally about 30 odd seconds. Peter Madsen 26 seconds stationary, so trying something a little bit different there, just taking a little bit more fuel on board than some of the others, I imagine. Of course, super speedway tyres are not going to be a major thing tonight, so a lot of drivers will not worry about that part. It's more the fuel that they're going to be concerned about. But we might see some people just swapping some fresh boots on at the last stop just to make sure they're nice and comfortable to the end.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine tyres would be much of an issue. I don't think, even if there was some wear, I don't think it would be that much of an issue.
No, I think they tend to be pretty robust things, and super speedways are relatively delicate on tyres, at least modern tyres. I mean, when you go back in time a little bit, some of those tyres were made out of granite, of course, and they would go the whole race, but they would feel absolutely horrible. But these tyres on these cars, I think they'll be pretty comfortable with them. Be a while for everybody to sort themselves out, get themselves in the right position. 30 laps into this race, we've got 50 remaining here, and Aidan Schultz in the 52 stayed out a little bit longer. He's going to come down pit lane this time to do his stop, and he is sporting the Golden Octopus Foundation livery out there tonight. Of course, you are looking to help with the battle against cancer, especially in children. Golden Octopus Foundation, a well-worthy course just to have a little bit of a look into, as well as a couple of SRM cars just popping in just for a top-up of gas as well. They just nipped down just to get a little bit of extra fuel here. Quite a few people doing that as well, so don't be too surprised to see people just topping up the tanks, just getting that little bit of extra fuel in the car, just so they can go a little bit longer in the next stint.
Yeah, if you're happy to run at the back of the pack anyway, so it makes sense to just pop in, and it might only be another lap's worth of gas, but it gives you a bit more options later on in the run, a bit more flexibility.
Yeah, it's always nice to have that, and if you're running at the front of the field as well, it just, you're going to be using a little bit more fuel, and just helps you out a little bit. Of course, we're under caution now, where these cars will be using absolutely nothing. They will be relaxing and not using too much of the fuel tonight, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, now seeing a couple of new fresh cars up the front, Madsen and Rush. Now, I wonder how that worked out. I wonder if that was just a curiosity of the timing of when pit lane opened and they were able to get in, and everybody else had to do another lap.
They made their stops beforehand, so they made their stops. Yeah, they timed out to perfection. So they jumped ahead there. They've been out for about 2.5 laps to 3.5 laps. For Mick Rush has been out 2.5 laps. Peter Madsen out for 3.5 laps. So they came down pit lane very early. So this has jumped them to the head of the queue, and we saw them down at the back in the. We saw Mick Rush right at the back of the field earlier on in the Scorpion entry.
Of course, this is one track. This is one track that you can do a pit stop and not lose a lap.
Yeah, it's big. Just noticed like the chat, Sarah Jesper just mentioned she saw a picture of Richmond, Dover, and Bristol all inside Talladega. Yeah, it is a big track.
I saw that picture too, and I was amazed as well.
Yeah, America can sure pull off some amazing building projects, and they do it here as we're about to go green flag racing, and Peter Madsen dropping the back. early there, I think, maybe, just before the restart zone.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna make too much difference at a super speedway. You're generally actually gonna end up costing yourself a little bit of time and possibly causing yourself a bit more trouble opening a big gap at the front of the field, because that gap will soon turn into a draft opportunity, and it's doing that at the moment for Nicholas Walsh. One of the Sim boys we haven't seen too much of this year, Nicholas Walsh in the 0-2-2, absolutely flying along at the moment. Going to be getting a huge run here up to the front of the field, 300 kilometers per hour on the corner here at Talladega. That is fast indeed. And Nicholas Walsh jumps to the head of the field. But this has broken up the pack a fair bit. It won't be long until it comes back to normality.
It was a very odd start, that's for sure. I'm not sure if the outside line got bogged down. He might have been in a too high gear. Yeah, it was just a very odd start, which has led the pack to be broken up a bit. But I imagine give it a few laps, and yeah, you're already starting to see them now form up too wide and catch up.
That's it. We have a 15 odd cars up the front in this main pack, and now the rest of the pack is catching up, being led by Dwayne Priest, I think it is. So that pack is really closing up fast, and it does not take long. And then there's a bit of a gap actually down to Richard Schramko in the Rogue Sim Sports entry. We've not talked much about Rogue Sim Sports tonight. They've been a bit quiet, a bit anonymous, but I'm sure they'll come back to the front of the field. They've dropped back. Schramko just has a bit of a vanish out into the Neville regions. But they've dropped off and formed up a little bit of their own pack. But if they work together, they'll manage to catch up to the front in a relatively short amount of time. So it is Nicholas Walsh and Sky Sinclair at the front of the field, and Jai Schultz back up there as well. Every time I look at Jai Schultz, he's either in the 30th position or he's at the front of the field. I keep glancing down, and every time I see him, he's always in a different spot. So having a fun run out there tonight, at least.
Yeah, he's one of the. It's definitely having a bit of fun, dropping right back and then using the big slipstream to get back up to the front.
And why not? It's an enjoyable little thing to do. I mean, it's not often you get absolute mega drafts like that, and he's taking advantage of them at the moment. Up on the high line, a bit of bump drafting going on as well between Schultz and Tomlin. So some good racing going on, and now that sort of secondary big pack has caught up to the rest, and that takes us down to about P31. 31 cars now in formation.
867 on the outside.
Monster run.
There's a monster run from Luke Crum. This is I want to get up the front.
I've not had any TV time tonight. I want to be at the front. I want to get some TV time.
I want up the front. Look out of my way. I'm coming through. And just like that. So he must have run from at least 10th plus position all the way up to front on that.
So started that lap in P13. So even bigger. That was a heck of a run. But managed to get it up there as well. He's got a couple of teammates up there too. So Christopher Tomlin up there, and Jai Schultz, who works actually close with the team. So this is a nice little run up there. There's a couple of cars that have fallen right off the pack at the moment. The 90 and Nigel Patton with Maddie Ray, Peter Grattan all falling off. They've sort of dropped right back, and they're struggling a little bit. So a shame for those ones. All it takes is one little mistake, and they'll be back into this race in no time.
So just having a look here. So yeah, the gap between Patton and the car in front of him, Perianasakis, is 5.7 seconds, and holding steady about that, although slightly growing now. So yeah, they're definitely well out of draft range. So I think Nigel's got a bit of damage on the right hand side there, which is probably not helping.
They're keeping some good speed still. I was just looking at the speeds, and they're sort of getting some decent speed out of those cars, still working so close to each other. So they've got a chance of working with each other and actually getting themselves right back up to the front. They've got Peter Matson, I think, just behind. Sorry, Peter Grattan just behind them. And if they can link up and catch up to the front of this pack, which has got Andrew Hoffman with a fair bit of damage in the 51 and Pariano Stackis, they'll be able to get back onto the main group of cars.
They will. It's interesting to see Gretton sitting down there in 34th spot. A couple of weeks ago, he won a race, and he spent most of the race just sitting down the back. And in the last third or last quarter of the race, he turned on the afterburners and ended up winning the race. So yeah, we'll be keeping an eye out, see if he can sort of come up to the front near the end of this one as well.
Absolutely, it could be just a quiet night, just working away calmly. It only matters for one lap that you lead, and we're seeing now somebody else deciding to have a bit of a run. As
it was Greg Spencer, that one.
Greg Spencer.
In 29.
So start of this lap, Greg Spencer was in 22nd position, and as we cross the line, Greg Spencer has gone from 22nd up into 13th spot and is still charging at a vast rate of knots. That Pinnacle Esports entry, of course, of My Private Sellers, which are electrics, sponsored My Private Seller. Pinnacle Esports entry having an absolute flyer there, way up in the, just knocking on the door of 300, but it started to drop off now. He started to hit the just hit the wall of air, and all of a sudden that run comes to an end. It's all it takes is just being in front and having that air hit you, and all of a sudden it just stalls off out of nowhere. Justin Witcher now up to the front. We saw Witcher down quite far in the pack earlier on, but he's worked his way up to the front, and he's got Raymond Jaeger just behind him, of course, the RKJ Web Services Pinnacle car. So Pinnacle starting to get their ducks in a line now. They're starting to work out with each other and trying to get all their team in a row, of course, and if you can get all the team cars in a row, you can have a big advantage here.
You can. I imagine the perfect scenario is you have your 4 teammates and you get one of them at the front of every line, and just make it so that nobody else has anywhere to go to get past you.
Now that's when you bump and run the team in front of you, of course.
We take one out and take all of them out, like bowling.
Exactly. You try for the strike. Or I guess a 7-10 split if you're going down the middle of them, but it would be it can lead to some interesting runs, but we are very much free wide here. Look at that pack of cars. That is your top 15, I think, just in that photo alone. There is absolute nose to tail. Not even a second separating the top 15 cars at the moment. It is that close out there, and this is what we love about oval racing. It's just this insanity and this closeness. The Australasian Supercar eSeries never fails to give us some great racing, and it's doing that right now. Pack racing like this is fantastic to see. Takes a lot of skill, takes a lot of concentration as well. As Justin Witcher's looking to drop down the line a little bit, drops down into the second row. And now he's just backing it up a little bit, just helping his teammate get up there and just slotting that car into position. So they've got 2 of those lines covered now. They just need to get a third car up there and get that low line covered for themselves.
As you see, Raymond just dropped down there to the middle line. Yeah, I'm not sure if you want to abandon the high line. The high line seems pretty fast, but yeah, we're loving watching this and commentating on these massive slingshots, because I say we don't see them normally. Like, see that outside line now getting a massive run. 2 cars, Mick Rush and Sky Sinclair, going to be able to clear. They're going to come down.
Mick Rush jumps down to the low line just ahead of Sinclair, and
Looks some no man land.
This car's starting to get a little bit wobbly out there. Pete Morris just having a little bit of moment. Yeah, you got Sinclair. Sky Sinclair's got some damage on the right-hand door as well, so that won't make for the best car to be leading the charge tonight. Of course, any damage to the aero on these cars can just affect it a little bit negatively. But a very quick car moving up on the high side at the moment. 173 of Peter Madison getting a huge run there. And slingshots himself up into the lead, and
Sharp's going to do a stunner of a move on the outside there too, I think.
Nice run from Sharp. Didn't quite make it in front of that pack.
That stalled out. So this is the hard one. I'm just trying to think of where you would want to be coming to those last couple of laps.
Well, I'd like to have a 10-second lead over everybody.
Ideally,
10 meters to go, yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be possible with this kind of racing. But yeah, it's going to be a hard one. Like, would you hang back? Do you try and get a slingshot in the last corner, or yeah, just interesting.
I do wonder how many cars we're going to be looking at the finish of this one. We're going to have to get the old Polaroid camera ready to go to get that photo finished, because I think it's going to be a close one tonight. But it almost seems like you need to be about 3 or 4 cars back to get that perfect slingshot, because if you're too far up, you just can't really do anything. If you've got that sort of 4-car buffer behind you, and you've got maybe about 2.5, 3 cars gap between yourself and them, you can really take advantage of that slingshot, just power yourself forwards. So I think coming into the last lap, you kind of want to be P10-ish, which I never usually say for anything in racing. I'd rather be in P10 on the last corner, but I think tonight you probably want to be in P10 right behind these guys, just to take advantage of a monster slingshot.
Yeah, I think you have to be wary though, that everybody else knows how to do that as well. They could possibly get up there and block those lanes. Oh, just looking up the front and the back of the camera there was a little bit of a...
Yeah, Nick Rush 472 just had a bit of a moment, little bit of contact. Yeah, a little bit of contact between himself and the 864 Peter Morris. They just had a little bit of a rub with each other.
Rush is pitting.
And Mick Rush coming into pit lane.
So I can't think of how many laps he was on.
Only about 16 laps, so I have not been too long into that run. But I see Hoffman's pitted as well. Andrew Hoffman is in pit lane as well. So I don't know if they're just getting in to try and link up a little bit. Hoffman's got some damage. Maybe just trying to get some fuel, just throw themselves off sequence a little bit. Or maybe they...
Yeah, 34
Not
laps.
sure on that one. You can't go 34 laps, surely.
No, I'm just trying to think of how many we've seen before. It was right back on that, bang on that 29, 30 lap mark, wasn't it?
Yeah. We had that caution before the real pit stop started to happen, but we had people coming into pit lane, so maybe they think 34 is possible here tonight, and just taking advantage of it at the front though. Big wobble for Sinclair as Schultz is having a huge run on the high side. It's starting to get a bit spicy up the front as there's some real rubbing and racing going on. Cody Jordan just behind Sinclair at the moment, trying to push the 747 along and doing a good job at the moment, having to dart out. And you'll see cars just darting out from behind the car, just dropping high or dropping low. It's not because they're weaving to try and break the draft. They're just trying to get some fresh air in that car, just if they get a little bit hot. And these cars can get a little bit wobbly quite quickly, but they also need to get a bit of fresh air in the car just so the engine does not go hot. It is very easy to make that happen. So up the front at the moment, we're getting some really nice runs.
Indeed, I think that's in the background. Just trying to see who that car is. Oh, unfortunately, Steve Hobbit is back out there in the 131, but he is 7 laps down. So I think the last time we saw him, he had quite a bit of damage on the front of that car. So he obviously had to put it in the pits for a number of laps just to get the repairs done on the front.
They've done a good job of getting that car back to reasonable looking out there, and it's got some speed at least. So Steve can at least enjoy some racing. Just a shame it's not for a decent position tonight. And just a shame he got caught up in that one, because Steve was looking strong tonight, looking like he had some speed running up the front of the pack most of the night. Just looking a little bit further in the pack, and just noticed there was a big group of cars sort of getting together, and that was the Sim Boys just trying to get themselves in a little bit of a line. And there's a few teams out there just shuffling position now, as we are getting to that point where pit stops will need to happen. So in the very near future, we've got 31 laps remaining. So, big side-by-side contact between Jordan and Peter Morris there. They made a big swipe from each other at the front of the pack, but luckily both drivers held it. Absolute brilliant job by Cody Jordan to keep that one pointing in the right direction. That was a bit of a scary moment for sure. Don't know if they actually made full body contact, but Cody Jordan did a good job of holding onto that car. Did make a little bit of contact there. Jordan up in the front now, but they are getting to the point now where they can come in and make it to the end on fuel. So we might see some teams opting to pull in and try and get out into a decent line to try and work it out to the front, as the front of the field looks pretty steady at the moment. But surely pit stops won't be too far off here tonight for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Brought to you by Bio Sellers. Of course, we are in round number 10 of the 5th season of the Australasian Supercar eSeries.
So we're about to hit the critical lap, or what we think is the critical lap. So 51, leaving 29 laps to go. And 30 laps to go now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we see anybody come in and pit to get enough fuel to go to the end from here.
Yeah, keep our eyes peeled on that one. We've not seen for a while getting back up there. Noddy Tompkins back up towards the front of the field. Michael Latter as well up there. I've not seen Michael Latter all night, and he's worked his way up to the pack as well. So Evan Horshaw as well, having a good run in the 071, and just keeping relatively quiet up there at the front, but having a good run as one as the SRM car just gets launched off the corner. A little rocket assisted launch there by
Phelps.
Ruben
Phelps there. So Ruben Phelps has been hanging back, and he's decided he's going to get right up the front now. I think we'll start seeing pits in probably about 4 laps time or so.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long, as the 222 of Warwick Sharp drops down in front of Phelps, just cuts that run off a little bit as Phelps was charging forwards at some gusto. The SRM start to work together a little bit, and the car just had a little bit of a blink there as well. Luckily it didn't last too long, but of course the blinking is not only distracting on a super speedway, but when a car disappears from existence like that and goes into the shadow run, it does mean that the draft drops off from that car as well. So it has a lot of things that can cause problems for, not just the distracting ability of it, but it can also cause a little bit of trouble for the aero behind. Ruben Phelps gets a lap led this time round, so he's got a bonus point next to his name now. And I wonder when they're going to see those pit stops happening, as another one of those inside lane cars just had a monster run as well. It was the 212, I think, of Tomlin.
Still going.
Yep.
Here we
was
go.
cut off a little bit, but he's using the side draft now, and 309, 310, 311 kilometers per hour, 312 kilometers per hour there, and almost looks like those cars are standing still next to him. That's how crazy it is. You know, those cars next to him are doing around about 300 kilometers per hour. The car next to him looking like they are making them look like they're standing still.
It does, and it's and if you're one of the cars in front and you see that coming from behind you, it's very dangerous to get out in front and block it. It's the speed difference. I think at the moment with 27 laps to go, he might be nice and hit on the brakes, but if you jump out and block that with a couple of laps to go, you're probably going to be spinning off the front of his bumper.
That's it. The manners start to disappear later in the race. Race drivers are pretty tame, pretty friendly people. We're starting to see pit stops happening now, though, as Peter Madsen is coming down pit lane. First car to blink in at the top, and well, unfortunate for Madsen, the only car to blink there. That's going to be painful coming back out, of course, because he's going to lose the draft pack. So we'll lose a fair bit of time coming back. Sorry, coming back out. This is where you need to pit in with other people. If you pit in on your own and come out on your own, you're going to lose an awful lot of time. You know, when the speed of these pack of cars is a huge run for. Who was that going a monster run up the front there?
Schultz up there, and
Schultz.
then 6-7's coming as well.
Looks like Schultz has been practicing those runs to perfection. So really, really getting on practice with those runs. Michael Latta coming in this time round. So just single cars really, not a huge amount of takers. What this tells me is we're going to see a massive run to pit road in the next lap or two.
As we see Madsen just go a lap down coming out of the pits. So it looks like with the fuel and tyres and that here, you do go a lap down. I'm so used to the NASCAR style where you've only got the 14-second pit stop, so you can come in and get your tyres and your fuel done and get back out without losing a lap. But with the V8s, they obviously go up on the jacks and take a bit longer to refuel more fuel.
That's it. It's a slower fueling as well. I think they take less fuel. It's a capped refueling nozzle, I think, from memory. So it takes a bit longer to get that fuel into the tank, and that really shows stationary for about 30 odd seconds to get the fuel in there, and that makes a huge difference. That's about half a lap.
Yep. So that's 15 seconds, and you can see there as the ladder goes a lap down now, that 15 seconds is the difference. You can get back out without losing a lap or not. So my calculations were a little bit slightly wrong earlier.
It's the tricky thing sometimes, because it does change up things with the supercars on the oval, because you don't think of the pit stop times in the same way. You know, you sort of think pit stop times about 15 seconds stationary, and then your brain goes, oh wait, no, it takes longer in these cars, and that makes a huge difference. So sticking out as long as you can be a good option, because you need less fuel in the car. As Sky goes up, just doing a half-hearted defence there from Peter Morris. And that's what Sky the draft at the front, just moved out from leading. But I imagine Sky's going to need to come down pit road very, very shortly. We've got 22 laps remaining here for Talladega. It's round number 10 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. So shan't be long until people will need to come down pit lane. As you can see, almost the same amount of lead changes as we've got cars running out there tonight. 38 lead changes for tonight. That is absolutely mental. And we've still got a lot of racing to do.
I don't think I've seen a race with 38 lead changes in it. That's amazing. That's shockingly amazing.
All we need are two more lead changes, and we've had as many lead changes as there are cars. We've got more cars coming into pit lane, and it is the Sim Boys making their approach to pit lane now. They have decided it's time to go, pull into pit lane for the Sim Boy cars. And you can see them coming in formation. That's Maxfield, Wellman, Dylan Priest, and Nicholas Walsh. And watch out for the Sim Boys, because they are very good on super speedways. They've got a lot of cars up their sleeve, but they are also very good at driving them. Up at the front of the pack, Ruben Phelps jumps back into the lead of the race and gets himself onto that crucial lone line, as I imagine we're going to see a lot of people coming down pit lane in the very, very near future. It's getting to that point where they're going to be running very low on fuel. They've done about 29 laps in this stint. So I imagine those guys that have been leading will have to come in for sure, as Sinclair does.
So Sky Sinclair, we just pulled off. We saw him in the back of the screen there. So if these guys are at about 30, 31 laps now, I'm wondering if the 34 lap could be a possibility for, was it Marsh that we saw? No. Who was it we saw a pit early? Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember, quite a few of these cars also came in for a little bit of extra fuel. So there are quite a few of those cars that took a bit of extra fuel up there. You've got Phelps, Kobe Jordan, Justin Witcher, Evan Horschel. Those cars came in for a bit of fuel. We can get Raymond Yeager as well, so they've got an extra little gulp of fuel as we get the big line coming in this time round.
Sim boys are all formed up pretty well. They've done a really good job of coming out of the pits together for their cars. Sorry?
Jai Schultz, Kobe Jordan, Chris Vitton and Luke Crum all pull in. Almost orchestrated like a team pit stop there by those 4 cars. Working together, those crew. Nice job, though, they get in nicely there. But as I said, yeah, the Sim boys have got themselves a nice little pack working together now. And that's going to be very helpful for them because they will pretty much get out in front of most of these cars. So they are going to get the effective lead of this race, I would say.
I would say so, yeah. They're getting the benefit of the lead draft as well, so they're only just 1 lap down. So it's going to make it very difficult for these lead lap cars mixed in between them all to get the pit stop done and get back out ahead of them.
Yeah, we're going to find out very, very shortly how that does. So we're seeing the Platinum cars, the Skypoint and the Inside Lane cars coming out now. And looks like Jai Schultz and Kobe Jordan just going to clip onto the end of this pack. That's good news for them. Sim boys really need to break out and get in front of this pack of cars effectively, just to try and stretch their lead. Because they want to try and get out into a clean pack. So it has really changed things up at the front and really shaking things up as well, as Noddy Tompkins is coming in now, and the whole heap of cars that haven't stopped yet, they are all coming in.
I was just about to say, I was a little bit worried there. It's quite a nice respect between the drivers and stuff. Noddy's obviously called out that he needed to pit, because I was thinking that I'd be very nervous if Noddy. He needed to pit and he was on the outside line with no way of being able to get down. But we saw there on the camera that the Sim boys gave him a little bit of a gap. He obviously communicated on radio and they were very generous and gave him a little bit of gap. But yeah, he was very lucky there. He could have been stuck on that outside line and run out of fuel and race done.
I'd say jump up to Gary Wellman right now, because there's a whole heap of cars now and there's contact and there's going to be a wreck here as around they go. I think it was an Inside Lane Productions car I saw in the background going round. And it was contact. It was Kobe Jordan. He clipped the wall, went down, just ran up into the wall, just got loose into the corner, maybe on fresh tyres there for the 080. And, the man with a magnet on his car tonight, who has found 2 cautions through no fault of his own, it is... Do you want to hazard a guess, Matt, who he collects?
Mr. Hobbit, again.
Yeah, Steve Hoppett there. Just running along in the 131 there. No fault of his own there. Just nowhere to go. Gets clipped from the side, but that's going to bring our second caution of the night on lap 63.
Oh, Steve's not going to be happy about that one. He's going to be pretty angry. He's going to be... Sorry, he'll be pretty frustrated with that, okay?
Yeah.
Because he's just driving along, minding his own business and just being a part of the wreck. And, yeah, just wrong place, wrong time again. He's done nothing wrong, just unfortunate there. But, yeah, we just see here. So he's got the one hit.
And I think it was... goes down and collects...
The Rogue sports car. 099, is it?
Kim Roffey, I think it is.
Kim Roffey?
Yeah, Kim Roffey there, unfortunately. I drew an absolute blank on the Roffey surname, and I shouldn't, because it's there's a couple of them in there, and I just absolutely drew a blank there. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Again, just driving along, minding own business, just as is super speedway racing sometimes. Just collected there. That's why I was just calling your attention to that pack, Matt, because it just started getting very spicy very quickly. You could tell something was about to happen. Yeah,
this is where it's really going to kick off now. I think 18 laps to go. It'll be less once we go back to green. Everyone's all fueled to the end, ready to go, and we've seen the big runs and that, so everybody knows how to do them and how to try to protect them as well. So, yeah, it's going to be all on. I think it's going to be a few more wrecks too.
Yeah, that's it. It's definitely not the end of the cautions, I think. So Andrew Hoffman's going to be getting the lucky dog this time around in the 51. A bit of damage to the left front of Hoffman. But going to be able to get back onto the lead lap. We've got 31 cars, well, 32 cars with this one on the lead lap now. We have lost from this race. Nobody
Nobody, but
completely lost
yeah.
so far, but currently Peter Gretton is 8 laps down. Steve Hoppett, I think, will be needing a lot of repairs to get that thing back out. 7 laps down. Joseph Grenfell, 4 laps down, and then it's Kobe Jordan, Aidan Schultz, Philip Marsh, and Andrew Hoffman, but all a lap down, although Hoffman is the lucky dog, so he's got his lap back. It is Justin Witcher Electric's sponsored car up there in the front of the pack. If you're in the Ballarat region and need to get any electrics done, get in contact with Justin and help him out for helping out the series. Of course, we always say that with our title sponsors. If you need anything, and you can give them a call because it helps out the whole sim racing community when we can help put people onto car sponsors, things like that. So it is Justin Witcher leading in Pinnacle entry. He's got Noddy Tompkins just behind him in the SRM machine. Adam Malone back up there from pole position tonight. Started in pole and sort of being quiet for the rest of this race. I don't think I've seen Malone back up at the front for a long time in that Sky Point entry. It's been a long time since I've seen Malone back at the front of this pack, but he's just ahead of Darren McKenzie. So they've worked out nicely and they're together on the track. They've got Christopher Tomlin just behind them as everything's just sorting itself out now. But yeah, it's some big movers and shakers up there. The biggest mover at the moment is Evan Horswell with 23 positions. Christopher Tomlin, Luke Crum all up 23 positions at the moment. So some big moves in this race. We still have 15 laps remaining, and I think the pace car lights are out, so we'll have 15 to run to the green after this caution. Hopefully we'll not see that dreaded caution flag again and get a nice clean run to the end.
Also, reading in the chat from Sarah that in the YouTube chat that Kobe had a meatball flag, so he's going to be sitting in the pits for a while while they repair that.
Yeah, that's going to be a costly one, of course, in iRacing when you get shown the black with the orange ball in it, or more commonly known, the meatball flag. That means you've got to get repairs done to the car, and it's a required repair as well. So that can sometimes take upwards of 5 to 10 minutes to get those repairs done. So they are the horrible, horrible ones when they come out.
Yeah, if you don't do the repair, you get DQ'd. I know that from experience.
Much like real world racing, if you ignore that one, then you get in trouble. So, yeah, it's an important flag to look out for. But we're about to go back to green flag racing in, well, I say a short while. We've still got a fair amount of kilometres to cover behind the pace car because it is such a long track at Talladega.
It's a very long lap underneath the pace car there. You're looking at about 2 minutes 28 lap times behind the pace car when you're normally doing about 50-second laps. So yeah, it's very slow. But it is a good track for if you do get damaged, you can always come in and get a lot repaired.
Yeah, that's one of the bright sides for it. And the other thing as well, I always find on the super speedways when the pace car is out, it gives you time to stretch your arms a little bit, have a bit of a drink and relax as well in the sim chair. You can actually take a couple of moments to breathe because you know it's going to get very, very crazy. Once that pace car goes in, we're about to see it now. Justin Witcher leading the pack, Noddy Tompkins on the outside. And we're about to go green here for round number 10 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. It's lap number 65. We've got 15 remaining here tonight. Witcher gets foot down, starts to lead up at the front of his car, starts to unwind and start to slowly get up to their top speed. It takes an eternity to get back up to that 290 km/h range in these cars. It feels so sluggish, of course, but you're going at a fair lick of speed.
Always takes a couple of laps for these cars to get really wound up onto speed, top speed on this track.
Caution flag is back out because just try and find out what happened there.
Yeah. Aiden Schultz might have had an incident.
Looks like it's the 52, unfortunately, Aiden Schultz. Bit of contact there with the 064, the Golden Octopus Foundation sponsored car of Aiden Schultz. Just makes contact there with the 064 of Joseph Grenshaw, just going into turn 1 there. Just that slight bit of contact, maybe just got just that little bit off from the spotter. And that is a costly mistake because that car is doing a bit of a Limp Bizkit song and rolling on. Down the track it goes. And that paint job is going to be very, very scratched. It's going to need a few brushes to get that back to scratch.
Yeah, and we'll have a look at the one in the background as well. We saw the one in the background. He wasn't able to save it, and it went into the wall head on as well. I'm not sure what the name was. Was it Grenshaw? It was, so we'll just jump back.
We've just had a bit of drama in pit lane as well as Joseph Grenshaw and Kobe Jordan just get contact to each other, getting into pit lane. And Kobe Jordan's night just gone from bad to worse as Joseph Grenshaw had that big accident there. Just kept it going though. But a little incident in pit lane. So we're back under caution. And yeah, unfortunate there for sure. And not the way that he would like to have that car showing up on stream, I am sure. And unfortunate for Aiden because I think he was in the lucky dog position as well, but he will not get that because, of course, when you are that lapped car. So just this incident under caution, you see the car going in a bit hot here and possibly some of that damage just catching him out a little bit. And then takes a long swing into the box. And unfortunately, Kobe Jordan's sitting in there. And bonk, it goes into the wall. And that's just made a bad night worse.
Yeah, looks.
And having to do a full Austin Powers job to try and get that car in the right spot now. Flick spin in it. And I think at that time.
So we got broken steering at this point?
I don't know.
It's like the old Austin Powers turning the car around, really.
It was painful, painful position. And look, I think that's night over and done with for Grenshaw. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of repairs on that car. So, yeah, painful couple of laps there for them. As Philip Marsh is going to get the lucky dog and get their lap back. So we've now got 33 cars technically with the lap on the same lap. And the very bright, easy to spot 444 of Philip Marsh at the moment going around in the Scorpion entry.
Well, we've definitely gone over our 40 lead changes, 41 lead changes.
We have indeed 41 lead changes, and it's not done for yet. I guarantee there's going to be a couple more tonight. Can we get into... what do you reckon, Matt? I'm going to go for 55.
Yeah, I would say about the same as well. Over 50. Low 50s.
Yeah. If we can break the 60 mark, that will be impressive. We'll see what these drivers can do, but Justin Witch is going to have to get back and, well, do the restart again. And it's just that sort of resetting, getting back in the car, just resetting everything and relaxing and getting to the end of the race. And probably the worst position to be in at the moment is in first place. It's a horrible position to be in on a super speedway when you've only got a couple of laps to go.
Yeah, just to say, I don't know where you would want to be, really. Not sure what was going to be the good position to be, because if you're at the front, you're a sitting duck. But if you're at the front, you want to drag the brake as well and not get too far out in front of the cars behind you and let them get that big slipstream run.
Yeah, it's a really tricky spot indeed. Just as we form up for the 11 lap dash to the end, quickly just run through a big thank you, of course, to the title sponsors for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, my private seller, of course, if you are in the need for wine storage solutions and a place that helps fill as well. In the Brisbane area, it's my private sellers. Give them a shout, get in contact. Of course, hot toddy heating installation off in Tassie, big proponent of the Sim Boys. And if you're in the need for some wood heaters and general heating supplies, get in contact with Hot Toddy's Heating Installations. And as we're looking at a car as well, United Electrical Solutions as well for all your electrical needs. They will do you a great job, and we are 100% committed to our clients and needs and satisfaction. They will absolutely try and get all those needs done for you. Get in contact with them if you need some new installations, repairs, or renovations. And we have, of course, RKJ Web Services if you're in need for setting up a new website, web plans, and site building, things like that. RKJ Web Services is your place to go, and you can see on the back part of that car and on the lead car itself, Witcher Electrics, of course. If you are in the need for electrical solutions in the Ballarat region, get in contact with Witcher Electrics for all your needs. Who knows what's going to happen here? It's going to be a mad rush to the end. Of course, we're on lap 69 of 80, 11 laps to go. It's going to be an absolute shootout to the end, and well, any one of 33 cars can win it here, I'd say. We've got 33 cars on the lead lap. And Justin Witcher is going to be leading us off the pinnacle on his outside. Adam Malone, who many laps ago, 69 of them ago, was starting in that position, taking pole position for the night, back up to the front now for the rest of the race. Darren McKenzie just behind him. Teammates can come into play here. Coming up to the restart zone, we're going to have the green flag drop here. And it is once again green flag racing at Talladega. And the packs will form up once more. Let's see what crazy shenanigans we can get up to in the next 10 laps, Matt.
Yeah, pretty good start there out the front, although which has got quite a way out. And the top line's all Skypoint cars, so they're all going to stay hooked up together. So which is going to have to rely on the Noddy Tompkins car, SRM car, to come up. And he does now. But on the outside, Nankervis. Big run.
Nankervis getting a huge run there, and just behind him is Tristan Koch. Those two timed that to perfection, linking up with each other there. The Everything Simulated cars linking up with each other there, and that's going to be very helpful for them as Nankervis drops down to the midline. Of course, the team's championship is still ongoing, and it is Pinnacle in the lead of that, of course, just ahead of Sim Boys and Road Sim Sports. So it's still a lot to play for in the old team championship, and they're going to be thinking about that in this race as we are 3 wide here at Talladega. Justin Witcher, Adam Malone, and Jamie Nankervis at the moment. The 3 cars rounding it out. Jamie Nankervis getting the lap led as well, so he's got himself the bonus point there, and another leader to add to the tally tonight. Which keeping it up in front at the moment as the midline starts to form up, and everybody's trying to shuffle themselves into position. Those teams are going to want to shuffle into position with each other, try and find those people that they can run with, and try and work their way up to the front to get the victory here at Talladega. But they're running out of laps to do it. 9 laps to go. We are coming to the close of this race, but I'm sure there is plenty of fireworks ready to be launched in this fantastic event tonight.
Yeah, the intensity's really picked up up the front here now. We're going to see 3 wide and 4 deep for the rest of this race, I reckon.
You can tell there's a lot more urgency now. People are a lot tighter on their lines. They are really, really keeping a sharp focus on each other, and there's not an inch given by anybody. The top 22 cars covered by less than a second at the moment. And you can see in that picture, there's about 22 supercars all in a line there. Absolute crazy stuff, but they're doing a good job keeping together at the moment. The sort of front runners of those packs are really not wanting to let anybody get free at the moment. They're trying their best to link up and just hold people back as it stands. A little bit further back in the field, some people are just jostling out for position. Jostling for position and trying to work together, trying to figure out where they want to go for this final little run to the finish line. 7 laps remaining now. It's Adam Malone in the lead. Now it's Justin Witcher in the lead. Every time I look, it's a different leader. It is really getting close to each other.
And we're starting to see the bump dropping going on as well now. And yeah, if you're 3 or 4 cars back here, you just got to be patient and and look for a gap and take that opportunity when it comes through. We see outside line getting a big run now. And Nan Curvis has left his teammate behind and gone right down to the bottom.
Maybe a bit of a tactical move there by the team, just trying to sort of lock in at least 2 lines there, because Nan Curvis jumped down and really took advantage of that one.
Oof.
It's getting very close out there now, and everybody is getting a little bit tense, a little bit more energetic out there as well, as we are running very close to the end. 6 laps now remaining. Still less than a second covering the top 20. Nan Curtis in the lead. No, it's Adam Malone in the lead. No, it's Tristan Koch in the lead. That is your lead changes in real time in the last couple of seconds. Now watch out for Sky Sinclair. We see them really having some good runs, and Tristan Koch drops to the low line now to link up with Nan Curtis, and Raymond Jaeger is looking to try and get down there, trying to link up with them. Can't quite make it work. But Jaeger's got a teammate behind Jamie Nan Curtis and Tristan Koch at the moment. So if those two can link up for Pinnacle, they'll be in a good, strong position. As it stands, though, SkyPoint have cars with each other. We've got Adam Malone up on the high line. Raymond Jaeger now in the middle. And Jaeger trying to get that lead change as well. And these lead changes are coming thick and fast. So it's Jaeger in the middle, leading the run. 5 laps remaining here at Talladega.
Up to 46 lead changes now. I don't know what to say or what to call. We just got to sit here and watch and let it unfold, really, because you can see for yourself what's going on here and what they're all trying to do, and you can see the comers and the goers. And yeah, at the moment, Tristan Koch is sitting really, really good spot here at the moment on the bottom line, with his teammate Nan Curvis lined up behind him.
And just in the back of this picture, there are a lot of Simboys cars working their way to the front of the pack now. They've been shuffling their way forwards, switching lanes, just trying to get themselves in a position where they can make a run for it. And I wonder how long until we see somebody trying to make that 4th lane working. I imagine it won't be until we've got maybe a lap or 2 remaining. We've only got 4 now. We are coming to the close of this race, and it is Tristan Koch in the lead at the moment. Jaeger and Malone, those are the pack leaders at the moment.
Outside line.
Is making a big move there. Sinclair pushing along, giving Malone a big push there, and this has just helped Aaron Dillon as well just get up to the front. And the Simboys are really wanting to link up with each other. They just can't quite do it at the moment, but don't have the room in that pack behind them. And on the low line, a bit of bump drafting from teammates there, as Tristan Koch trying to get another lap led here today, as we are closely coming in. 3 laps remaining in the near future. We're on our fourth lap to go. It's lap 77 of 80. It is closing very quickly here. Who is going to be in the right place at the right time? We will find out very shortly. Hopefully, we are going to see a lovely green flag finish here, but all it will take is one simple mistake, and there will be the mother of all wrecks here tonight, as there is nothing covering 28 cars in this field.
These bump drafts are getting a bit aggressive, especially on that high line. I think that's probably what we're going to see. We're going to see a bump draft go wrong or someone go 4 wide. I think if they go 4 wide, it's not going to last. But yeah, if we see a wreck up here, it's going to be huge. We got the whole pack running pretty much 3 wide all the way down to 24th spot. So 24 cars running 3 wide.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. As I said, there is less than a second covering those 24 cars. 8/10 of a second, in fact, covering 24 supercars out there. And these are not small cars. These are not like Formula Fords. These are fairly beefy, big cars. They are 4-seater sedans, these things. So they are very big indeed. A little bit of a gap forming on the low line, but they're going to link up again. The high line bump drafting. Big. Ooh, Malone just got a little bit loose there. Had a bit of a big bump there. Just held it nicely, though. But it is really starting to get aggressive now. People are chopping and changing. Look at the SRM cars working their way through the field as well. They want to try and get to the front of this pack. As I thought there, Justin Mitchell was thinking about going 4 wide, trying to squeeze in 2 laps remaining, and it's going to be the white flag lap in a very near future. As around goes a car in the background. Didn't see who that was. Will it bring out the caution? It will indeed.
Oh wow! So we will have green, white checker.
We will have the green white checker. Yeah, Parry Anastakis there in the back of the field. Just got contact from the number 60, I think it was, of Michael Latter. Contact there for Anastakis, and it wasn't the mother of all wrecks. It was not the biggest wreck in the world. So it was a fairly innocent little touch there. And then there was a second little bit of contact there between Sharp and Patton.
So it looks like there was another incident up front that triggered it off, and I think Perry's had to take a bit of action to avoid that, and then unfortunately gone down. Let's see here.
Yeah, it was that. There was a little check up there, and I think that's just caused Anastakis just to go in avoiding action down towards the low line, and unfortunately, Latter was there, and round goes Parry there, and very lucky to avoid. I think that was Philip Marsh in the 444 there. Just got the, I'd say the lucky dog, the luckiest dog of all, because he didn't get wrecked in that one. This will give Kim Roffey the lap back. So we'll have 29 cars on the lead lap for this restart. And it's going to be a green-white checker here tonight at Talladega. If you're new to oval racing, if you're new to the scene, and you saw the shenanigans and Formula One race finish, we do not finish like that in the oval racing. We try to get a green flag finish, and that's what we will have here. So it will go green. The white flag will come out. If we make it to there, then we will have a green flag finish, of course. If a caution comes out before that white flag is flown, then it will finish as it is. So lots of fun stuff to come, I'm sure. And look, this could be some exciting action in these last couple of meters of this run here at Talladega.
It will be. I'm just looking at how they're lining up. I'm not quite 100% sure how they're lining up.
So Tristan Koch is going to be on the inside with Jaeger. Then it will be Mackenzie, Nankervis. So up the front, they're not going to have teammates behind each other.
No, Mackenzie's going to have Malone behind him, and that's the first lot of teammates lined up, of 2 teammates anyway.
Yeah. This is going to be a very. I feel like it's going to get a bit dicey up the front. It's going to be very a lot of action to come.
I'm looking here at who's going to go 3 wide on that high line, and I'm thinking Barber might be the one that does it from 6th spot. He's going to be 3rd one back on the outside. He might be the one that peels up to the outside and sees if anybody goes with him. But it's so dangerous, because if you go up there and nobody comes with you, you're just going to drop like a stone for a bit. Mind you, I keep forgetting these cars. If you time it well and you get a big run, you'll slipstream your way. So
yeah, the massive slipstream out there,
and 50 lead changes as well.
We're up to the 50 lap, so look, we're 55. There's still time. Just 10 more lead changes. That's going to be hard to do. But yeah, it's
going to be interesting. It's definitely all hyped up, and then and you definitely don't want to be hanging around or delaying. You want to be going as fast as you can, because the chance of another caution is very high, and if that caution comes out under the green-white checker system, it will be the end of the race, and that will be it. So you want to be the car that's at the front of the pack if that comes out.
That's it. If the caution flag flies, you want to be the leader. But as it stands, Tristan Koch is kind of the sacrificial lamb as well as Jaeger. It's not the ideal place to be, because the cars behind should get a big slingshot. If Nankervis and Koch can link up together and get this run working, it could pay off for them. If Jaeger and Witcher can link up, that could work out for them. But watch out for Mackenzie and Malone. They are sitting in a fantastic spot at the moment, and they could really make this work. And of course, you've got Barber there as well. So 3 of the Sky Point cars up there. and well, they're probably looking very good at the moment. Watch out for Sky Sinclair and 747, been running extremely well tonight and running at the front of the field, doing very well. SRM have got 3 cars very close to the front as well. And then there's the massive swarm of Sim boys. They're a bit like zombies. They just keep coming and coming and coming. They do. But they are very good at super speedways. They could absolutely be in here tonight to take a victory.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just trying to think who'd be a good bet. I think if Barber doesn't go high to the third line, I think the car behind him, Sky Sinclair, will. Yeah, but we'll wait and see what happens.
Exactly. It's I don't even know who I would bet on. It could be somebody way down in the field that we're not even expecting that will come flying up there. It is anybody's race right here. But the butterflies will be flapping their wings around in the stomachs of these drivers. Tristan Koch is just sitting there thinking, wouldn't mind a caution, wouldn't mind a quick caution and to stay out in the lead here. That would be very nice for me. Jaeger is probably thinking, yeah, probably a caution. It's not going to be too bad. I mean, I'm out front of my championship rivals. I'd like to get the win, but, some points are always good. But it is going to be a really, really edge of your seat stuff. If you have been enjoying this race so far, hit that subscribe button to catch more action in the future because it will come thick and furious here. And we're about to have the restart now. It's going to be a green-white checker, and we're going to have 2 laps to find out who gets the winner here at Talladega. We're coming up to the restart now. The green flag will drop. It's going to be Tristan Koch and Jaeger leading us away here for round number 10 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by my private seller. And away they go. Lightning reactions from Witcher in the background. He's managed to work his way up there. There's always a big wreck behind. The wreck happens. The wreck happens. And the caution flag is out. And we will have one more try for a green-white checker, I think. So we'll just digest what's happened here in the background.
I'll have a look for the replay and just see if it's the end of the race or not.
As it was SRM that had some contact. It was Noddy Tompkins and Dwayne Priest. It looks like it was a bit of net code between those 2 cars that actually caused that one. Pinged them down. The 071 of Evan Horschel down there. And unfortunately, it just rocketed that car down into Tompkins' teammate, Matty Ray. Matty Ray, we like to call him Mr. Clean because tends to have some good races, tends to keep that car very clean. This time, though, unfortunately, the last few races just been really unfortunately in the wrong place at the wrong time and gets a big hit at the front. Not taken out, but some damage there for sure.
Pretty solid hit there, yeah. Unfortunately, that was looked like a pretty bad or significant net code. Oh, the 071 hit the wall in such an angle, he's stuck on the wall and immediately towed and parked it.
Looks like Jai Schultz as well got caught in that heavily, the 27, which was running quite strong tonight for a fair bit of time, and we saw some monster runs from Jai in the race. But unfortunately, Jai got caught by Gary Wellman, I think it was. Gary Wellman got some serious damage as well. So I think that's it. I think that's the end of the race, I think. So yep. I think the checkered flag should be coming out this time around to greet the 23 of Raymond Jaeger. So he's going to be coming up to the checkered flag now. And we will be seeing the end of the race. So not far now for Pinnacle car to come, and they're going to photo finish with the top three right here as the checkered flag starts to wave up on the podium. And it is going to be Raymond Jaeger getting the victory tonight. Unfortunate for Tristan Koch, who just got shuffled back a little bit. Justin Witcher had a fantastic restart to launch himself up there. And Jane Nankervis rounds out the top three tonight. A very strong run from Nankervis. a shame to finish under a caution, but some great racing out there tonight. We saw some fantastic action on the track. And look, I'd probably say the big gainer in that restart was Justin Witcher, who did a fantastic job of just launching himself up into the front of the pack just as that caution flag came out. Witcher very nearly got the victory from that. A few cars just unfortunate just to get caught a little bit, not able to make the run as the caution flag flew, which secured the final few positions.
It was all that last restart. It was literally that last restart won the race, because Raymond got a really good restart and just unfortunately didn't.
Absolutely, and the burnouts will begin and celebrations on those tyres, and this is going to help Jaeger in the championship standings as well. Coming into this race, a single point was between himself and Gary Wellman, but this will help add a couple of extra points in there, as Gary Wellman got caught in that incident, unfortunately for himself, and that dropped him down, way down the field ordering as well, down into 17th spot for Wellman. So the two pinnacle cars there just celebrating with each other. And look, it was nice to get a victory at Super Speedway.
Celebrating a 1-2. That's what they were doing there.
Absolutely, and it was odd for the right place to be at the front of the pack on the restart today. But that caution came out as Jaeger is busy doing the announcement that we're going to get Audi in the series in the near future. By the looks of it, just a couple of extra circles there, I think, for the Audi, but oh well. But yeah, let's run through the finishing order. It's Raymond Jaeger for Pinnacle taking out the win with Justin Witcher P2 for Pinnacle. Everything simulated comes home third with Jamie Curvis. Andy Barber for Skypoint in fourth position. Darren McKenzie fifth. Some stars. Entry there. Tristan Koch in sixth. Sky Sinclair P7. Strong showing for Sinclair tonight. Adam Malone came home eighth after taking out a very nice pole position. Todd Maxfield ninth, and Aaron Dillon in 10th position. As we roll over the page, it's Ruben Phelps in 11th, Dwayne Priest in 12th. Luke Crum comes home. Luke Crum comes home, a bit of a tongue twister there, in 13th spot with Michael Lasser in 14th, Christopher Tomlin 15th, Richard Shanko in 16th position, Gary Wellman 17th, 18th for Anastakis, Nicholas Walsh 19th, Jai Schultz will bring it home in 20th. Philip Marsh is in the 21st spot with Maddie Ray 22nd. Nigel Patton in 23rd position. 24th for Craig Rothey, just ahead of Kim Rothey in 25th. Warwick Sharp comes home in 26th spot. He'll be celebrating with a couple of beers, I'm sure. Peter Madsen in 27th. Nick Rush 28th. 29th for Noddy Tompkins. Evan Horshill in 30th spot. Andrew Hoffman comes home in 31st with Greg Spencer 32nd. 33rd for Jordan Grenshaw 34th. Morris 35th. Aidan Schultz, 36th, 37th for Steve Hoppett. Very unlucky tonight from Mr. Hoppett in the 1-3-1. Peter Gretton in 38th spot. And that rounds out our starters of tonight's race for the field. 38 cars crossing the line there in the end here at Talladega. So round number 10 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries is it's done and dusted. And next week, we'll be having a little bit of a break, Matt, so that's always nice for us. But just let the drivers have a little bit of a rest over Easter to recover and enjoy their celebrations tonight.
It will be, yeah. It was good. A little bit of a break, and everyone can sort of get themselves sorted for Easter and then get themselves set for the final week at Charlotte.
Absolutely. And before we go into our break, before we relax, before we finish up tonight, we've got to bring up our podium finishers. And first of those drivers is going to be, for Everything Simulated, it is Jamie Nankervis. Jamie, welcome back to the booth, mate. I said I'd be talking to you after the race.
Good evening, guys. How are we?
Pretty good. I imagine you're feeling pretty good, though. P3 at Talladega. It was looking very good. And, both of the cars up in the top 10. P6 for Tristan Koch, P3 for yourself. A nice run here tonight.
Yeah, I would have liked to see it without that caution. I think I could have pushed Tristo to the win without that caution, but is what it is. It was good fun.
No, absolutely. We were all sad to see that the race would not finish under green, but you did a great job of working your way back through the field and getting yourself up to the pointy end of the grid for the final run to the flag.
Yeah, I think it's the way to do it. I seem to do that quite a bit, just hang around the back for the first 70-80% of the race and then worry about it in the last 20 laps.
Well, it paid off tonight, and as you said, you had some great pace out there yourself and Tristan Koch, and it was looking good for a possible victory tonight. But well, top 3 position, you can't complain too much at that one, I'm sure.
Oh, I think you got to take it, don't you? Because it could have ended in a wreckfest as well, so it could have gone either way.
No, absolutely, and we're glad to see that. Well, pretty much most of the cars got it across the line in the end, but very happy to have you up here in P3, Jamie. Congratulations on the podium tonight. Anything you'd like to add tonight, Matt?
Pretty clean race from what I saw. I think there's a little bit going on down the back, but around us, it was awesome to race with those guys. So it was just a good night.
Absolutely great to hear. Before I let you go, Jamie, though, the usual thing: shout out and love to sponsors and people, and the usual thing.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Just like to thank Everything Simulated on Facebook, online store selling mecha pedals and shifters, awesome European products. So jump on board; they are awesome. And of course, thanks to the broadcast. Thanks, guys.
No worries, Jamie Nakovis. Congratulations, P3 tonight for Everything Simulated. I'm sure we'll hopefully have you back in the booth in the near future.
Thanks, guys.
Next up, we will grab our second place finisher for Pinnacle. It is Justin Witcher. Justin Witcher, welcome back to the booth. Congratulations on P2 tonight. You absolutely nailed that restart. A shame to see it finish under caution, of course, but you had that car well positioned for the end of the race.
Yeah, no, it was a good start. But yeah, I don't know what's better. Is it better to run around for 2 laps and have 10% chance of winning, or just have a go what happened and get a 1-2?
Yeah, it's tricky. In your position, it must be, you've got to be elated to be in the right position at the right time. Of course, finishing under a caution is not what nobody likes to see it, but it worked out well for you. I mean, that final restart, though, you absolutely got away like grease lightning and got yourself right up to the front to try and help your teammate there to the final push to the end.
Yeah, it was bound to happen, that last caution. So I just thought, well, we'll stick it in first and just try and get to the front. And if we cause an accident, we'll cause an accident. If not, someone else will, and hopefully we're at the front. So, yeah, it obviously worked out. But, yeah, it's great that it worked out like it did, so that the man who needs to be up in first place is for his championship, and we're 1 and 2 for the team's championship.
Absolutely. I think it was only a couple of millimeters from memory that you sort of just missed out on that victory because it was so very close. Just as you were running through as that caution flag dropped.
Yeah, we're just looking at it then. I think I needed about 10 more meters and I would have had him. So, but anyway, here's what it is.
Well, next time, just give him a little bit of a bump next time. I mean, sure, he's a teammate, but the first person you've got to beat in this sport is a teammate.
Yeah, well, look, he probably let me through, so it could have been. Yeah, he was coming down, and he realised it was me, so he sort of hung up. So I suppose it probably wouldn't have been any as close if he hadn't done that.
He checked his mirrors, saw the sponsors, and was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll allow this one."
Yeah, we've had a few too many run-ins this year, so let's just if we can keep a car width between us, we're right.
Well, it worked out well tonight. Congratulations on P2 tonight, Justin. The usual thing of shouting like that, we'll save the full team sponsors, of course, for Mr. Raymond Yeager, but a personal sponsor and general shout out tonight for yourself.
Yeah, no, just pretty much don't have any friends, so well, thank you, boys.
We're your friends. That's all right. That works.
That I'm sure I'll watch it back tonight, and you've done a great job again. So thank you.
No worries. Thank you so much, Justin Witcher. Congratulations, P2 for Pinnacle tonight, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in the near future.
Cheers, boys.
And finally tonight, we are going to grab up the man of the hour and his teammate, Justin Witcher's teammate. He's Mr. Raymond Yeager, taking victory here tonight at Talladega. Raymond Yeager, welcome back to the booth. You're making a bit of a habit getting up here. Congratulations on the win here tonight, mate.
Yeah, no, cheers, man. Didn't really expect to win this one, obviously, because Super Speedway sort of, flip of the coin and see what happens. So we ended up at the front tonight, so we'll take that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Super Speedways, as you say, they are a lottery, and they can often turn into a bad lottery as well. It's very easy for things to go wrong very, very quickly here tonight. But
absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. You positioned yourself in a way that you were kind of safe most of the night. We saw you running up towards the front in the early stages and then dropping back. Obviously, you were just keeping yourself protected in the early stages.
Yeah, so that's pretty much our strategy every time we come to these super speedways is try and get that lap led early, get that extra point, and then just sort of sit at the back, middle of the pack towards the back for the rest of the night, and save some fuel and have options for strategies and things like that. So we sort of pit a couple of times under the caution, the first caution there, just to sort of give us that extra little. I think it's probably only a lap or something, but it still gives you a bit of extra strategy calls and things like that. So yeah, and then worked out well, and then we come through at the end and sort of push like crazy and hope we sort of finish.
Absolutely, and you saw that finish just at the right time. I mean, how much are you paying the guy that presses the yellow button tonight? Because I think you owe him a drink tonight because Witcher was so close to taking that win from you.
Yeah, me and Justin were literally just having a look at that in the green room just before, and like when he pushes a yellow, I must have been the slightest tiny little bit of spoiler ahead of him. Like it was so close, and I mean I wouldn't have cared. Second is fine because Justin's obviously my teammate. So, but it fell my way tonight and get the win. So happy with that.
Absolutely, it was good to see. If that caution didn't come out, this is the trouble with super speedway. Sometimes finishing under caution, never fun. What was your plan to the run to green if it was going to run to green?
Yeah, I don't know, mate. Like honestly, I was saying to the team on that last restart, I was like, I don't really know what to do here. I didn't want to be on the front because obviously all the runs that you get in these cars, I was like, I'm just going to get swamped. So I didn't really have a clue. The plan was to sort of just sit sort of 1.5 lanes up and try and block any run that come, but I don't know, it was going to be difficult.
Well, it didn't have to go into practice at least, but a victory tonight. I mean, obviously a good thing to get a victory, but especially when you're leading a championship, it's always nice to get those extra points. And I imagine that's making you feel a little bit more comfortable as we head into Charlotte in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it was a big one tonight. Obviously, second last round, and I think we were 1 point ahead of Gaz coming into tonight, and he's had a bit of a shocker. I think he's finished 15th or 16th, and yeah, that's really handy going into the final round. So sort of I think I haven't done the points obviously, but I think it's going to work out. Just sort of need to finish in the top sort of 10 or so, and it should be okay. Obviously, a lot can go wrong, in a long race, a Triple Crown race next week, but we'll see what happens. Like I'm definitely in the best position at the moment, and just got to try and see it out now. So yeah.
Well, fingers crossed we'll have you back in the booth, and hopefully it goes to plan for yourself. And of course, hopefully it goes to plan for Gary Wellman as well. No favourites in the booth, but good luck for Charlotte coming up. Before I let you go, Mr. Jaeger, the thing that you have to do now, the love and the shout out to all your sponsors. The prize of winning the race, of course, is you get to shout out all the sponsors for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously they're getting a bit of airtime lately the last couple of weeks. So they'll be happy. We've obviously got My Private Seller on board with the team and the league. Witcher Electric's also with the team and the league, and RKJ Web Services with the team and the league as well. Also on board with the league, we got United Electrical Solutions, Hot Toddy's Heating Installs, and you boys at Performance E-Streaming. Once again, I'm sure it was another great job. I'll watch it back later, and I'm certain it's going to be fantastic. There's a lot of action to call tonight, so I'm sure you did a great job. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah.
No, absolutely. Our job is nice and easy. We just get to call what's on track, which is luckily very easy to do in the series. Thank you so much, Raymond Jaeger, and we will see you in a couple of weeks' time at Charlotte for the first of the Triple Crown races.
No worries. Cheers, guys. Thanks for doing it for us.
Right, Raymond Jaeger there for Pinnacle Victor here tonight at Talladega. Nice win there for him, and nice little shot there of the free cars coming around celebrating. It was absolutely by a proverbial gnat's hair But Jaeger got the victory there, as Justin Witcher was so close to getting it as the caution flag came out. But very close stuff indeed, with Joe Curvis in third. We are heading off to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Is the Carolina Classic coming up next for the Australasian Supercar eSeries? That will be on the 16th of April, because we get a week off next week. Yes, that thing that we look forward to as broadcasters, just to get a bit of a rest for our vocal cords, have a bit of a nice lay-in and early sleep as well on a Sunday night. But we will be super happy to come back for the Carolina Classic. And as we said, the first of the Triple Crown races. Who will be able to put the first notch on the crown? We will find out in Carolina, of course. We also have the action of ANSCAR coming up here on Performance e-streaming next week. We will have the Xfinity from... My brain has gone dead, Matt.
Martinsville.
Martinsville, thank you. Martinsville on a paperclip. That is always fun. And we will be getting down and dirty in the Cup, because it is Bristol Dirt this week for the Cup Championship. So a lot of action still to come on Performance e-streaming in the week. Head on over to the channel, give it a subscribe and all that usual stuff. And you can find us on Facebook as well. But from tonight, we will wish you all a good night. From myself, Mr. Carl Wilkinson Withy, and of course, Mr. Matty Hunter doing all the hard work on the cameras. We wish you a good night, and we will see you back here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries on the 16th of April. Good night.